next we have Madri and her testimony. She's from Namibia. So Madri, can you introduce yourself a little bit to the listeners?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Madri. I'm from Namibia, from Windhoek, and I'm the oldest one on the team. I'm actually a little bit the oldest one in the whole DTS this year, but God came and saved me radically, and I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I have so much hope,
Wow.
and I believe that today there are people listening that feel a little bit hopeless, and I'm a walking testimony that God is the only one that brings hope and that can radically change your life. And even when it seems absolutely hopeless and you think you're way too far gone and there's nothing that anybody can do, and that's what the world tells you as well, that God can step in and he can literally turn you around to the point where people don't recognize you.
Sure. So Madri, can you tell us more about how did your journey start out? Where were you before you met God?
Well, I grew up in a Christian home, but I never, since a young age, I didn't feel like I was worthy. And it was just lies of the devil that came in that I believed. And so all through my life, I had this thing of I was less than other people, and I had to be less than other people, and I was okay. I was okay with it. But
that's so real, hey? So many people feel like they can't be enough. What they carry, what they have, isn't enough.
Exactly. But the problem with that is that you don't feel like, you don't believe that thing that God really loves you, and you don't believe that you could have a relationship with him because you're not worthy. And that unworthiness grows into something where you start seeking other ways to make yourself feel worthy.
Sure.
So right through my life, I went for things where I could be serving people, because every time I served somebody, I felt like I was doing something. So I ended up studying different things, but social working and teaching, and I ended up working with children with disabilities.
Sure. And I know, Madri, from hearing your testimony in the past, you're a pretty impressive woman. You have a capacity that's scared of nothing. Can you tell us a little bit about what was the work that you were doing? You speaking about the social work and this stuff. What's your line? What did your heart beat for?
I always loved children. So from a young age, I started working with children. I started babysitting when I was 10. And I found a love for children who struggle, because I also had sensory integration issues and attention deficit and so on. And after school, went to England or first Germany for au pair, and then went to study in Potch, and then went to England and studied further there as well. But I worked at a place for children with autism, all sorts of disabilities, but autism was the prevalent one. And basically just trained myself in anything to do with learning disabilities and disabilities. And my life fell apart there. I was married and my husband cheated on me, and I left England and went to Namibia. My sister lives there with her children, and they were my godchildren. So I thought, I'll have to start over somewhere. I'll start over there. And Namibia is a country of opportunities, and very little help for children with disabilities. So I worked there, and eventually ended up opening a school for children with disabilities. And everything actually went well, but somewhere along the devil started changing my view about love, and I fell into homosexuality. And for years I lived this as well, and I thought I was fine. I really thought I was fine. I didn't have a relationship with God at all. Didn't really go to church here and there maybe, but it was sort of just something you did because that's what you grew up with doing. But there was nothing. I didn't ask God about any plans. I didn't trust him to really solve anything for me. It was that typical thing where you pray and just say, God help me with this, or God help me with this, but I don't actually even believe that he will do it. And then COVID hit, and the children lost parents. And
Wait, so you're saying which children lost parents?
The children in my school. So we had a school that helped children with learning difficulties like ADHD, the cerebral palsy was on the disability side. So we basically had mainstream, and we had a stream that did lots of different practical training them to try and find jobs for them. So we did bricklaying and carpentry and everything practical. So
Wow.
and
So you would classify yourself as a good Christian at this
well,
stage?
then I thought I was brilliant. My whole worth was based on my school and what I was doing, and I adopted 4 children. Between me and my partner, we adopted 4 children, and not that I adopted children for that, but I really love my children. But I thought I was doing something good, you know.
Wow.
What I'm doing and how I'm living, I'm doing something good. And when COVID hit, we started losing money like crazy because the parents couldn't pay the school fees, and my heart was just so soft. I couldn't let them go.
Sure.
I once let a child go home and his mother locked him in the house for a week. And after that, I was like, no. Autistic child locked in a house, there's no way I can do this. So I just kept striving, but all in my own strength to try and make the school work and make my life work. And my home life was starting to fall apart as well. And I stayed up eventually like every night until 3 o'clock trying to work out plans because I started losing staff as well. I couldn't pay them. So eventually I was teaching almost the whole school.
Sure.
And, you know, trying to figure out plans to make it work and then get up at 6 again. And between that, my children are small. They're only 2, 4, 5 and 20 now. They were waking up in the middle of the night and I was trying to be this best mother and best everything. And so I drank many energy drinks and tried to stay awake that way. And eventually I couldn't stay awake anymore and I started taking cocaine.
Sure.
Yes, and it doesn't make sense, the money that you're losing on cocaine, but I had like 30,000 reasons how I could justify what I was doing. So I became a fully fledged addict, full addict, but fully functioning addict. Nobody knew. People didn't know. And I started isolating to the point where nobody knew anything about me because I had more and more shame packing on. I couldn't even look people in the eye anymore. People kept looking like over their shoulder when I was speaking to them, and I realized I'm not looking them in the eye, I'm looking past them. So my self-worth was going crazy. There was nothing left of it anymore.
Sure.
And basically 18 February this year, between me and my partner, it was really bad, and she said, you're losing your school, you're losing your children, you're going to walk out of here with nothing. And then I was like, there's nothing left for me to live for. If I lose my children, if I lose everything I have, then what's the point? And I went out to commit suicide. And God literally stepped in a miraculous way. And a light didn't turn. So the place I wanted to do it, I couldn't get there because the light didn't turn and I didn't want to drive. And I saw a hospital and I thought maybe I should just go to the psych unit and disappear there. And they could leave me there. And when I got there, nobody knew what to do with me. And I'm like, I didn't want to live anymore. But they didn't book me in. And a long story short, literally from that day, I heard God's voice, a bit like Adam, and I didn't want to hear it. So I took more cocaine, and then eventually it didn't have any effect on me. I would take a whole gram of cocaine and not have any kick, no effect whatsoever. And God kept speaking, this is not it, this is not it, your time's not up.
Wow.
And he took me to people that could help me, but I had this whole struggle with him. If I leave, I'm going to lose my children. If I leave, I'm going to lose my children. I don't really care about the rest, but I don't want to lose my children. And God made a promise. He said, this is a season where I'm going to fix you. You're going to get oxygen. You're going to breathe. And you are going to be away from your children, but you will not lose them forever. You're going to become the mother that they need. You're going to come back as that. So he's put the right people in my place, to help me. That's very important, that you find people that actually know the Lord and know how to just give you a little bit of guidance in the beginning if you don't know God. Just to have that community, especially if you're so lost and you're so hopeless. You see their faces and you wonder, what do you have? I want that. And literally, when God stepped in, he said, he calls me. And I came to a DTS with lots of youngsters. And since then to now, I have transformed into somebody that I think you guys are also surprised.
Madri, honestly, your transformation has been amazing, insane. I mean, how long have you been saved now? How many months has it been?
From April.
From April, that's quite just a few months. And Madri, just one thing that I would like you to share with the crowds is like, because there's people out there right now that's in that place of feeling hopeless, that's in that place of like they don't know where to go, they don't know what to do, they don't know how to get freedom from the stuff they're in.
Yes.
What would you say, like, what's one thing that you would say to them when you think of your life and how God has met you in this last few months?
Yes.
What is one thing that you would like to share with them?
That it's never too late, that you're never too far gone, and that you really have to understand what God did when He died on the cross.
Sure.
That He really washes you clean, and that when He died and He went to hell to go and fetch all the keys, I didn't know that, I learned that afterwards. He actually went to fetch every single key from the devil, and He beat death. And there's nothing that you can do that He can't wash clean. And when He washes you clean, you are clean. You can be still responsible for certain things and consequences on this earth, but if you've been set free in the courts of heaven,
Sure.
there's nothing that this world can do to you. I have now been tried, and I even went to jail, and God just stepped in and He's turned every single thing. He's still busy doing that, but every single thing that went really dark and bad, He has slowly started turning into something really good and a blessing.
Amazing. Thank you, Madri.
Yes.
So just before you and Adam move on, so Adam, if there's one thing that you would like to share with the crowds about your journey.
Yeah. So I just want to share with you. I don't see you, and I don't know your story, but I felt to share with you this. You might feel hopeless. You might feel like the world finishing. You might feel like you can't do anything. Like, just see my story. I was young, lost a family, being a foreign country, can't speak the language, and I lost everything. The only thing I had was Jesus, was Him. And having Him was everything. And I just want to encourage you, if you're feeling you're losing, if you're feeling you can't do anymore, if you're feeling like nothing, like, just believe Him. He will save you. He will help you. He will support you. He will be there for you just the way He was and He is and He will be.
Sure.
Jesus is everything. So don't give up and don't stop praying and look in Him.
That's so
Amen.
good. Thank you,
Amen.
Adam and Madri. It's such a blessing hearing your testimonies. It's so encouraging.